Hey, welcome everybody to our 26th episode of Stirring the Pot. So tonight is kind of a special episode. We have a couple guest stars with us, Kylie Mulholland and Lauren Wright. They are our new youth ministers here at St. Patrick. And you could be saying, well, why are they there? It's because Father Cladar and Father Jack both have prior engagements tonight. They both had family and friend weddings today. And so they're at their respective receptions. So I'm here all by myself.
We're here.
And, well,
I'm so sorry.
yeah, you know, it's okay.
I'm a little offended.
Well,
Nobody even want us here.
so, no, I'm thrilled that you're here. What a it's a great opportunity. Huh?
Yes, it is.
So tonight, I just thought, since they both just arrived this summer, and it's kind of a weird beginning for coming to a parish as youth ministers when there's such a restriction on what we're able to do in groups, because that is kind of what youth ministry is about in many ways, and so they're really having to be creative and think outside the box. But before we maybe get started with a little youth ministry stuff, why don't you guys just tell me a little bit about yourself, where you were born, where you went to college, what's going on in your lives, huh? So who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
So
It's Lauren Wright.
I'm Lauren, everyone. I was born in the great state of Texas. I was born and raised there. Thought for many years I would end up back there, but I actually ended up in college in the Midwest, a small Catholic school in Ohio.
Steubenville.
Yeah, Franciscan University of Steubenville, where I studied theology and catechetics with a focus in youth ministry, and then after I graduated, I moved out to the Rockford area. I worked at St. Bridget in Loves Park for 5 years as a youth minister out there, and then came out here. So that's where I came from, and I'm very excited to be at St. Pat's. It's been really fun so far.
All right.
I would agree, all things considered.
What did you like most about Steubenville?
Oh wow, that's a good question. I think very specifically for me personally, it helped so much form me into the person that I am, and it gave me a lot of opportunities to serve and to lead in ministries, and in a lot of ways I felt that helped prepare me for the transition into youth ministry very well, so I was
Sure.
very grateful for that at that school.
Do you know what I like about Steubenville?
What do you like about
I
Steubenville?
like the way the air smells. In the
No, you
morning.
don't. Nobody likes the way the air
I
smells.
did.
It smells like tar is burning in the
Yeah.
evenings. That's how it smells at night.
So you have to understand, Franciscan University at Steubenville is an old, very old mining area, and so the whole valley of the Ohio River there is all these small mining towns, and they're still mining, and they're doing fracking and all sorts of stuff now. But in the morning you get up.
Because they can only release the emissions at night legally.
Yeah.
So when you wake up in the morning, you go outside and it smells like...
Yeah, when I did my sabbatical there back in 2010, I did 3 months of study there, and I remember it snowed a lot. But I would get up in the morning and I would look at the snow, and there'd be like an orange film on the snow. It was awesome.
No!
It was cool. It's like, this is living.
It's not.
Wow. So, Kylie, how about you?
So I'm from Jefferson City, Missouri, and I also went to a small Catholic school in the Midwest. I went to Benedictine College, and they also have a stench.
And
We
that's-
call it the Atcha-stench. Yeah,
Oh, nice.
and it's because they have a distillery in town,
Oh.
and it's a wheat distillery or corn, I can't remember, but it smells terrible, and especially at certain times of day, it gets worse.
Sure. All right.
Yeah, so there's something there's a bad smell in the air. There's probably a great Catholic
So
school.
you got coal or you got
Yeah.
booze? I don't know. So you said Benedict, it's in Kansas, Atchison.
Yes, yeah.
It's a great college
Yeah.
too. I've never been there though.
You gotta go check it out.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful place.
Yeah, something. All right. Well, I'm just thrilled that you both found your way to be our youth ministers at St. Bridget. So St. Bridget or at St. Patrick, you said it.
Because I worked there.
At St. Pat's,
Yes.
we have a great tradition of youth ministry. Mike Zach has just done an amazing job all these years as our youth minister. And he decided to, segue into a new area of our director of event planning. And he's been doing a fantastic job, especially with all the COVID, creativity that has to go on. So to have these two step in and kind of give us a new vision, huh? And so, but before we maybe touch on that a little bit, why did you choose youth ministry? What's that all about?
What's that all about?
Yeah.
I think for me, I like to plan. I like to know what's happening next, and the Lord has always been very kind to me and works in a slow way with me. Otherwise, I think I would panic and run away. And so, for years in high school and even in middle school, I had a lot of opportunities to work with younger students, younger kids, just like through babysitting camps, and then even the youth ministry program I was involved in growing up had a lot of leadership opportunities, and through that I began to realize that I really enjoyed working with students. I especially liked working with the younger students and being able to be with them in the midst of what they were dealing with, and to talk about how the Lord wanted to meet them in that. I found a lot of life through that, and so when I was looking for schools, I was kind of going back and forth between education and youth ministry, but when I visited Franciscan, the Lord made it very clear that that's where He wanted me to be, and they have a really solid program there for youth ministry, so I decided to study that. And then throughout my time in college, the Lord kept reaffirming my desire to work with
And
Him.
you got to study under the great Bob Rice.
I did. He was a professor of mine, and he's
He's a super
incredibly
guy.
talented, and he's very good. He helped a lot. I felt like I came into the youth ministry world understanding a lot of practicals, which often people don't have the gift of being able to do that, but he did a great job of just instilling the practical elements of ministry into us as students. So I knew sort of what I was walking into a bit when I started my first job. So
Good.
yeah.
So how'd you end up here?
Well, whenever I was in high school, I always wanted to be involved in youth ministry, but there just weren't a lot of opportunities to be involved, so there's always that underlying desire to create that for just anywhere that I landed in life. And I just graduated college this year, and I was kind of a mess the whole year. Didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, but I got engaged Zachary proposed to me, and we're engaged, and he's from here. He's a parishioner here, and we both knew that we wanted to end up here, and I just gave up. I gave it all up to the Lord in the spring, and I studied theology, and it was always in my mind, youth ministry, and I just ended up being here. It was awesome.
How the Lord works.
Yeah.
Amazing. And so I guess as we look at youth ministry, and it's such an important thing, but it's also something everybody does it differently, and we all have a vision, I think, but I think the thing we look at first is like our kids, our teens, like what are the significant things that are impacting them right now, and how can you, me, how can their parents, the parish help?
Yeah, this is such an obvious answer, but media is just such a huge part of their experience, and honestly, it's a huge part of all of our experiences. It's not just exclusively them, but I think it's especially impactful because of how young our young people are encountering, the voices that they're hearing all the time. They're just constantly hearing a million messages at one time, and that's a really overwhelming experience. Not to say, there's so much good in media for our students, but I think there's also a huge challenge in just the world that they're constantly inundated with. It's kind of it's a lot for them, and so I think for me in youth ministry, and I don't have children, but what's been really helpful is just entering into where they're at and being willing to ask questions about what they're watching, why they're watching it, what they're seeing, and what it tells them. Like being able to dig deeper, and a lot of students I work with want to talk about their experiences. They want to talk about themselves and where they're at, and so just to not be afraid, because sometimes it can be really intimidating to be like, I don't know what TikTok is, like I don't want to ask about TikTok. And I feel that, like it's starting
I just
to
know
with
that
me.
China owns it. So it's bad.
But the kids don't live in
I
that
know they don't
world,
live in that world.
even
That's
if they've
right.
heard it, that feels foreign, and it's so much a part
What
of
is
their.
foreign? It's Chinese.
Okay, it feels so much a part of their life, that they don't think about that. They want it. It's how they communicate with each other. It's how they exist, and so just being willing to have conversations with them about what they're watching and why they're watching it, because a lot of the times it comes from a genuine, good, holy desire. It's not like that they just are trying to cause chaos in their own lives. Many times they like watching vlogs because they feel they get to see people being authentic, and they value authenticity, and so getting to know them in that way I find is valuable, because it's so much a part of of what they do and
Sure.
how they live their lives.
Right.
So
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing whenever you first brought up that question, social media, and how hard it is to separate that from reality and what's going on just like in your physical everyday life. And
we were just talking about that the other day
yeah.
too.
Yeah, so I think that's a big thing. I know that I struggled with it whenever I was a young person, and I still struggle with it a lot, of being able to separate that and compartmentalize those aspects of my life with social media and just what's happening in my everyday life. And one thing that I've found that is really helpful for me is I set up in my settings, I'll go and I have time limits on my phone, and I'll select all my social media apps and pick like 30 minutes a day or something, or only from like 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. I can like access those apps. And that's been a really helpful tool for me with social media, because then it's at least getting me off of it for a period of time. And I know a lot of people who have had success using that tool as well. But yeah, I would agree with diving deeper into like what are the reasons you do this, and what pressure comes from it in your life, and what's the comparison that you bring upon yourself after being on social media for a long period of time.
That's I've never thought of it that you mean social media isn't real? Isn't real life? Serious?
No.
It's crazy.
It's
I know.
not. People, and that's what's so hard for the kids. I mean, the kids, for me, but all of us, is that we put like our highlight reel on social media. We don't put the worst pieces of our lives. And so what happens is that comparison becomes such a real factor, because you're like, well, this person's life is perfect, but you don't know. Like no one's posting the awful pieces.
And we are hiding those things that we need people to accept.
Yeah.
So we need to experience, okay,
That's a good
it's,
point.
yeah, I'm not perfect, but people like me.
Yeah.
So we hide all the imperfection, and people like us, and we think that's why they like us, because we're perfect.
Because we have to act perfect. And that's also another valuable thing I find with young people, is identifying goodness and affirming it within them. Because there is that element of like them wanting to like be good enough and to prove that they're good enough, and putting all these things out there to be like, this says that I'm enough, like this great Instagram feed or whatever video you made on TikTok. And so to be able to identify real things about who they are as individuals and say, hey, I really love this about you, that's not superficial, because what's online is superficial.
Yeah.
But being able to identify like, hey, you're a really strong leader, or you have a really big heart and you notice others and where they're at. Like being able to identify and affirm things like that, I find is really genuinely effective for like building up our students, because they don't experience that
No.
in like their daily
No,
lives.
they don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, and help them capitalize on that creativity that they have with the social media.
Sure.
Because a lot of times they have some awesome ideas, or like the beautiful images that they can create from it, and
Yeah.
because there's good in it always.
Sure. Yeah.
Sure.
Absolutely.
So with that in mind, capitalizing on some of the creative aspects of right now, because of COVID, we can't really have huge gatherings like we'd like to, or these weekly gatherings where kids are getting together in their groups with adult core leaders and guiding them and helping them. So what's on store for this coming year that allows you to work within COVID and still be creative and reach people? What's going to happen?
Yeah, well, we have a lot of hopes, plans, and dreams, and we're just hoping that, COVID allows those to happen. But I think one thing that we're actively doing right now is trying to meet our students on like the platform of YouTube, like a social media. It's hugely used. It's the number 2 most used search engine in the world, second only to Google. YouTube
yeah.
is number 2. And so tons of, it's really, really just a huge platform. And so we've been doing weekly vlogs that we release on Wednesdays, and then weekly devotionals that we release every Friday. And the vlogs are, for anyone who doesn't know, because this is something we've had to learn about, because it's not something we're really familiar with, or were anyway. And they're like video blogs where we just do kind of normal or weird and crazy things together, and we film them and we put them into these 4-minute videos that we post. And we just did a fantasy football draft this past week.
I was in it.
You were?
Yeah.
He thinks he's going to win, but we feel very strongly against that.
Because you just win everything,
I've got Robbie
apparently.
Gould. I've got Robbie Gould. I do win. I don't know how that happens.
You're not going to win this. It's not going to happen. I don't think I'm going to win either, but it's not going to be easy.
I did appreciate your confidence, though. It was through the roof for not trying
Yeah.
at all.
I
He
didn't.
put auto draft for the vast majority.
No, I I picked the names I knew,
Okay.
and then I did auto draft.
Auto draft,
It's gonna
okay.
win.
Who's your favorite player?
Robbie Gould is on my list. He's a great guy.
Anyone else?
That's
No. That's a no. Can't remember anybody else. That's a that is. Yeah, honestly, Father Clayton will probably win. Though we don't have to tell him that.
No, don't even tell him.
But there's a good chance.
It's hard enough to live with him. So,
But I feel like him and Nick knew what they were doing. Anyway, we did fantasy football this week, and
you did a devotional with me.
we did you
Be
did
still?
a
Be
devotional.
still.
But
That was great.
Father Jack
And
was
it was.
yesterday.
Yeah,
He
Father
did one
Jack.
about seeing God and everything.
Yeah, and Father Claire did one about sleeping.
Yeah,
which
Yeah.
is-
sleep.
Like, that's his thing.
Checks out. Yeah, so we released the devotionals are deeper and more, I guess, catechetical,
Practical.
practical, how to live out your
So
faith.
we have vlogs and devotionals,
Mm-hmm.
and
YouTube.
right now we're just trying to connect with our youth because that's where they're at.
Yeah,
And if they can't be here, we're going to go to them where they're at.
yeah, exactly.
But we have big plans. Like next summer, what are we doing?
Well, our plans, I mean, all things, you know,
COVID's going to be over. It's going to be over in November 4th. So
hopefully it'll be over. If COVID
Yes.
is over, we have,
That'd be great.
we're in talks of we want to have a really massive, just kind of like summer party in May where we just have like a huge, like, I mean, yeah, with like blow up inflatables and knocker ball, like those inflatable things that they get in and run at each other with. We want to do like maybe a slip and slide, like a whole thing where we want hundreds of students to come to kind of introduce. By that time, we'll have 22 adult leaders ready that we're going to be training throughout this next few months, really. And so we want to kick that off in May of 2021, and then right after that, we actually are going to be taking our students, our middle school students, to summer camp, which we're really pumped about.
up in Wisconsin.
Yeah, up in Wisconsin at a camp called Lutherdale. They have like, it's an amazing site. I've been there before. I've taken students there before. They have this like massive ropes course, adventure course that's insane, like a zip line. They have water activities and boats, and it's just a really beautiful experience. So our middle schoolers will go.
Yeah, and there's a place for, I mean, we had confessions, we had mass.
Yeah.
When we were
Adoration,
up there,
and worship,
yeah,
and we
praise and worship.
brought out really amazing in the past praise and worship leaders. So we're looking to maybe connect with some people that
Yeah.
we've talked to before. So I'm excited for that because that is personally one of my favorite things I've ever done is be involved in like a summer camp. So that would be for
And
Steubenville.
Steubenville.
Yes.
Yeah.
not Steubenville, Ohio, but
No.
Steubenville.
Mid America, yeah.
Mid-America,
So
Springfield.
Mid America,
Mid-America.
which is in Springfield, Missouri. We actually have been told. I know a lot of people that work in the background and the behind the scenes of the conferences, and consistently, I've been told that Mid America is the #1 site in the country to go to. So we're really excited to take kids there.
It's
as well.
good. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go there. 'Cause
Well, Monsignor likes main
I
campus.
like main campus in
He
Ohio.
likes that
'cause
state.
I have,
Does.
I have a thing there.
You like the
It's-
smell.
I like the smell,
You wanna
and
go
I
back
love the
for it.
food they have.
The food isn't good. You don't love the food. That's not accurate.
Because I eat the food over in the hotel.
Yeah, Monsignor likes the hotel food. The students have to eat the cafeteria food.
The
which is-
students just starve.
Yeah, it's less impressive.
It is pretty unusual.
Yeah. So we're excited to
Yeah.
get to take kids there. And high schoolers can go to Steubenville and they can help lead summer camp too as counselors, which we're excited about.
And I think there's a change in approach. You know, up to now we've done a lot of peer ministry. That's been a model, and we're evolving it into an adult core team model.
Yeah.
And I think that's important to have an adult in, like, because they're the groups of kids. They'll be in their groups.
Yeah.
And they'll get to know each other. But you've got an adult there who loves Jesus, who's got experience in the faith in life, and can walk with a young person who can benefit from all that wisdom. Huh?
Yeah.
It's like, this person loves Jesus and he loves me.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that like one of the benefits of an adult
Well,
core team model?
and it's actually there's this statistic from the Fuller Youth Institute that says that a young person who has 6 adults that walk with them from 6th through 12th grade intentionally is like substantially more likely to continue to pursue their faith once they get to college and going forward.
Right.
And so for us, investing in a team of adult leaders is just massively important. We want to build a community of adults so that they can pour out, and also it expands our reach, right? Because Kylie and I are 2 people, and can maybe like intentionally disciple like 10 kids max at one time, and so the more adults that we can bring into the fold, the more kids that get to be walked with and invested in and just loved well. So we're really excited. We're in the recruitment process right now, so if anyone's interested,
Any of
let
us out
know.
there
Yeah.
that want to walk with some
Our hope is to
schoolers.
get an adult team of all ages and stages in life because it's so beautiful for the kids to see
Right.
people living out the faith in every
Stages of life.
so like young adult, married, like older, like all of it is just beneficial for the kids, and then we get to. I mean, I get to learn so much too
Sure.
from
Yeah.
the team. So
So before we tell the folks how to connect with some of the social media, tell them just what's a fun fact about you guys.
Oh.
we just did this the other day, didn't
Yeah.
we? What
So-
fun facts did we say?
Or a fun embarrassing fact, whatever.
Well, I
whatever
have
might
more
be.
of those.
I have
to
a
be
good
honest.
story
Yeah,
that I could tell.
Okay.
sure.
It's one that you told me to tell the other day.
Oh, it's a good story.
So one day I was driving to go babysit my cousins actually, and I was at this stop sign and I heard all these sirens in the background and I was like, what's going on? I need to pull over. Where do I need to go? And I was right next to my hometown church. So I was on the corner street and the church is right there. My mom was at the mass and there's like 20 minutes left in mass, and suddenly this car whips around the corner and he just hits me. And I made eye contact with this man. He was a very scary man. And and he like bounces off and he starts driving, and then 3 cop cars go and follow him. And it was a high-speed car chase. And I got hit during it.
Oh my gosh.
And he ended up going like outside of county lines and like miles down the main highway in our town. But I was just dumbfounded in the middle of this road, and like the church is right there. And I was like, what do I do? So I called 911 because I didn't want to call my mom, because like there was enough time and there wasn't that much time.
Well, then you
to
would have got in
mass.
trouble because your mom would have gotten upset.
Yeah, like she just needed to receive the Eucharist.
You don't
and
want to
leave.
interrupt.
Yeah,
Right.
so I called the cops, and in like background history, I like freak out whenever a cop is behind me, because like I've been pulled over enough in my life because I've forgotten to put my lights on in the past. So anytime a cop is behind me, I like tend to cry because I get kind of stressed. So I was completely calm this whole situation, and
Wow.
It's impressive.
So- Well, let me just tell you, once you've had a cop behind you like 10, 20, 30 times, you don't cry anymore.
Oh my! I've never been pulled over.
Oh my gosh.
So
You're lucky.
I got pulled over
I know.
one day, twice within 15 miles.
No
I'd be-
way.
I was on Route 39
Were
going
you
up to
speeding
Rockford.
both times?
Do you have
Speeding
like a
both
lead
times.
foot or
Were you
something?
wearing your collar, and did they let you off?
I wasn't wearing my collar. The first guy let me off, or no, gave me a ticket. Second guy, I got to tell you, I just got a ticket like 15 minutes ago back there, 10 minutes ago. And he's like, he just shook his head. He goes, bye.
Oh
Slow
my
down.
gosh!
Yeah, he felt so bad for me. So slow down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. My story does not involve cars. This is probably one of my most embarrassing stories because I always tell this to students because they, get nervous about going to school their first day. But being from Texas, they have really, really big, like massive high schools down there. I went to a school of like maybe 3,000, 4,000 kids my freshman year of high school. It's like the first week of school, and I had to do some work during lunch, so I took my spaghetti and my milk up to the like freshman like hallway that was up these freshman stairs. And so after lunch, the bell rings. I go to throw my trash away because you can only put food in the cafeteria. So I go to throw my trash out, and as I'm walking down, and you have to understand that the freshman stairs are like right at the back of the hallway, and then it's just like everyone is in the main hallway leading up to the freshman stairs, and then there's like offshoot hallways.
I'm already embarrassed for you.
It's awful. And so there's this whole thing, and as I'm walking down, when something's happening and everything just goes into slow motion.
Yeah.
And you're just like, ah. So spaghetti and milk, I'll never forget, because those stains do not come out when they're mixed with each other. And
Oh.
I wipe out
No.
and like slide down the stairs
Oh.
with like spaghetti and milk falling on me and all over the stairs with me.
No.
And so I get to the bottom, and it's quiet. And there are like 3,000, 4,000, however many students. It is never quiet. And suddenly, some turd in the
Cheers.
back just starts like the slow clap. And so I'm trying. It's like my first week of school. I'm a freshman. I was trying so hard to like be like, this is funny, haha, laugh at myself. And so I stand up and I tried to like curtsy.
And you
But
fell over.
I was wearing this really long denim skirt because I thought that was fashionable back then. It wasn't ever fashionable, and I collapsed and crawled my way. There was like a set of bathrooms behind the stairs, and I crawled my way, physically crawled to the bathroom where I tried to clean myself up. It was awful.
I want to crawl under the table right now.
It was
so
cringy.
embarrassed.
Awful. I went and changed. I had like dance practice for the dance team that day, so I went and put on like my sweats that I had to wear for that, and it was missed like my afternoon classes.
There's nowhere to go. There's no recovery from that.
No.
No.
Yeah, I switched schools.
Did you?
Yeah, but not because of.
Oh.
Well, maybe. I went to a Catholic school after that because I was also at the same time getting to know the Lord and wanted to.
Because the kids at Catholic schools would never.
No,
clap.
they would clap, and then they would all remember it because then I transferred to a school with like 16 kids in my grade, and they would take pictures, send them to everyone
Oh,
I
yeah.
knew.
So-
But I switched because I wanted to learn more about the Lord, so I went
Oh.
to a Catholic school. But
Nice one.
I did leave that school forever.
That's great. So last time, tell us how we connect with your vlogs and devotions or devos.
Yeah.
How do we connect?
Well, you can find us on Instagram at St. Pat's YTH. It's youth for short. And
The other one was taken. We tried.
yeah. And then on YouTube, you can find us at St. Pat's Youth, and that's spelled out. And that Saint, the S and the P and the Y are all capitalized, all one word. St. Pat's Youth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where we are.
Next, Saint ST or SAN?
ST.
ST
we
and
don't
no
ever spell it out.
periods.
The less
Just
words, the better.
St. Pat's Youth on
Do they have to
Instagram
get-
is shortened.
Do they have to have the capitals?
They do. There's another
Yeah.
lowercase St. Pat's
Oh,
Youth.
that's crazy.
Isn't
Yeah,
that
there's a lot of St.
wild?
Pat's Youth apparently.
It's a popular name.
Well, just go on to YouTube, go to search St. Pat's Youth, and it'll pull up all of them, and you'll
That's
see
true,
you'll
yeah.
see these two.
Yes,
Our faces.
Yeah. So you'll know.
Or yours face now.
Yeah.
My face is there.
It's there.
That'll bring him in. So, anyhow, folks, it's been great having you here for our 26th episode. Isn't it nice having Kylie and Lauren here to substitute for your
I
great
think we're great
associates?
substitutes.
You are. You're.
We could be the guest stars that just become permanent,
Yeah.
and they don't ever have
You'd
to.
be like the Ed McMahon. you have no idea what
I
that
do know who
means.
that is.
She has no
No.
idea. Ed McMahon was the permanent sidekick for Johnny Carson on his talk show.
That could be us.
And she's still like, sorry.
Yeah, but it could be us. I believe in
It
us.
totally could.
We can do it.
So, folks, thank you so much. The Lord be with you, and may Almighty God bless you, the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
God bless.
Thanks, everybody.